Zou is the 487 billionth arc within One Piece and is where the series gets to pick up after Dressrosa, an arc I liked significantly more than it seems a lot of people did. Now, after looking into the conversation and the comment sections on that, it seems to be people are slowly coming to a consensus that Dressrosa is far more enjoyable now that it's all out and you can just binge it rather than sitting through the 2 years that it was slowly released. But in contrast with Zou, it's really just gargantuan because this is probably one of the smallest arcs we've had since the time skip. Maybe the smallest? I don't know. The story's just blending now in a way where oh my god. But I had heard nothing about this arc from the fan base before getting into it, and I was really excited to get going with what promised to be a rather absurd and fun story, because I've been someone who's been very much so enjoying the various island designs and how they thematically back up the thoughtful themes throughout each story that One Piece has to offer. And here we quickly learned that this island takes place on a gigantic elephant's back. Awesome. I'm pretty sure that's a Discworld reference, right? It has to be in some way. Has Oda ever said he's a fan of Discworld? Someone who's watched all of his interviews, let me know in the comments down below, because I need to know that. And my favorite thing about this arc, rather than its fucking spotless structure, is the fact that it actually approaches a lot of the typical narrative beats One Piece arcs bring forward in an extremely different way. The antagonist doesn't really have any direct confrontations with our crew, which is a fascinating choice and quite frankly just brave as an author to do. And instead, this is someone who's antagonizing the people of the island we're currently on, and we're essentially told a story of how the people survived, which ties into the previous arc directly. So there was a pirate named Jack who has a bounty of literally 1 billion berries. A small criticism, seriously the smallest thing ever. If you're going to start throwing numbers that big around, which already we've been sitting at gargantuan numbers, it starts to just be meaningless. What's the difference between someone with 800 million berries to 1 billion? I have no idea aside from 200 million berries. I guess because I'm just an overly analytical asshole, I actually really want there to be like firm lines, but I don't know how this person is considered more dangerous to the world than Enil. Enil was an electric god! But our heroes are actually welcomed warm to this island, and what they're told about is the fact that they were at a long battle, basically a war with this pirate, and they lost. After this many days conflict, chemical weapons were used, developed by our local mad jackass, and that pretty much subdued the island's population, and they were about to be just obliterated by this guy's design. Awesome. Like, I just want to point that out real quick. Holy crap. Oda just continues to be spot on with his character design. But Jack heard of the defeat of Doflamingo from the last arc just as he was about to make his final moves, and that pulled him away from this island because he wanted to rescue Doflamingo from the Marines, saving the island, and obviously this is a direct result of our crew. Yay! Bit convenient, but totally fits within the One Piece narrative and tone, and so I have no problem with that at all. Fortunately though for us, as Jack was on his way to try and rescue Doflamingo, he was taken out by Marines. Or so we thought! Spoiler alert, he's not dead. Marines aren't very good at killing people. Can we just agree to that? We also get some more pretty dark bits of lore and world building throughout this time about the ramifications of the defeat of Whitebeard and how a lot of his crew is being hunted down and slaughtered, which, wow, that's dark. And this actually brings us to the actual people of this island. They are animal-human hybrids, which is fascinating. I didn't know we were ever going to get direct explanations to various species that exist, but now we are in the homeland of a non-human race. And the characters built and established for us here just bleed with Oda's signature care. We have people who are heroic, who just went through this great battle with Jack. We're told their stories through flashbacks, which I've just accepted I need to deal with One Piece. And this specifically is why this kind of alternative narrative approach to having conflict within this arc really works, because each and every single one of these characters you immediately as a reader start caring about, and so as a result it's kind of of okay that our crew isn't necessarily dealing with the combat of this Jack person to the forefront immediately. Just honestly, again, I know I sound like I'm kissing ass at this point, but just credit to Oda. It's really impressive for him to pull off these narrative choices that I feel like most authors wouldn't have the guts to. So this society is referred to as the Mink Tribe. I actually think this is one of the most complete feeling societies we have gotten on an island. I don't know why, but there was just something very special about this people that I really enjoyed and their personality and relationship to the crew. It just felt very different and nice to have people who not only knew who our crew were, but were immediately kind of like grateful and thankful to him and just welcomed them in. It feels like our crew has earned this position in the world, and I love that narrative shift for them. It's just so nice to see the One Piece crew just be like, yeah, I'm motherfucking Luffy and Zoro and Nami and Robin. Like, how could you not want to hang with us? We're pretty cool. Why did I sound like the guy from Emperor's New Groove there? But because half of our crew was already on the island, the half that was sent away from Dressrosa, and they actually had the mad scientist hostage who developed these chemical weapons, they were able to force this man to create a cure and help these people. Hence why when the second half of our crew shows up, they're just like, ah! How's it going, my dudes? Also, I just gotta say, I saw a surprising amount of Caesar Clown hate online after putting up my last review. Don't get it. I thought he was a pretty good villain. Fight me. But the main actual character of our crew focus here is going to be around Sanji, which was the first thing in this arc that made me go, because Sanji is clearly my least favorite crew member at this point. Sorry to Sanji fans, I just don't like the guy. But this did provide a good amount of redemption for his character and explanation for his behavior. Oh, you mean the pervy, obnoxious guy is actually from a high-class bloodline? That makes sense. This storyline isn't necessarily brought to a conclusion here, but it's just a source of conflict and setting up what is to come, which I hate when people say setup arc in an entirely inherently negative way, because this to me was a setup arc, as was quite a bit of the previous one, but it's still good. It's okay to take time to set things up. I see so many people just go, it was a setup arc. Okay, but why is that bad? What is your specific criticism? Do you think no stories should set things up ever? Let's talk about the balance, because I actually found the balance here to be quite appropriate. We're moving forward and experiencing and enjoying this world while also setting things up. That's how stories work. That's how good stories work. We also see a member of the Worst Generation making an appearance here, Capone, and he does some traitorous stuff. This is just, again, a lot of stuff that's going to be set up for future arcs with the person he betrays, this lion hybrid, ends up joining our crew to go on the adventure to help rescue Sanji, who's it's so hard to summarize One Piece because there's so many characters. I'm like, do I need to explain this or should I just trust y'all know it? Because like, why are you watching this summary if you don't? And if I'm being completely honest, I have a really hard time keeping track of the character names and positions in society. Yes, binging One Piece is extremely enjoyable, but it also means I have very little time to like ruminate on characters and let them really set in, because I'm constantly just getting new. So I'm really excited to actually catch up so that I can finally go, all right, let's take a gasp of where we are and just digest each chapter for a week and not do 5 in a day. But this lion hybrid, lion, calms, recovers, and yes, is going to be a part of the people that go off to rescue Sanji. I don't really feel the need to talk about what's going on with Kinemon and a ninja and all that, because I do not understand it at all. I'm dumb. So don't be too mean about that. But the reason Jack was trying to invade this island in the first place was because there's a ninja hidden here who is what Kinemon is trying to get to, which means, yeah, this island is full of a bunch of badasses who sacrifice so much respect, real, recognize, real. All of you are honorary Straw Hats. God damn, I'm so glad that didn't break. I did not think that through. Also, this character design. How can you not love Oda's vision for characters? The guy... Does he do acid? I don't know if that's offensive to ask. But what I found personally to actually be the important event to happen here for everything, this is the actual step forward in the grand narrative and not just the stories that are happening along the way of the grander narrative, is we get this gigantic red tablet. And it is actually a part of revealing the final location of the titular One Piece. So this is the first time that I've actually felt the conclusion of One Piece coming. It was this extremely like, oh, moment where I was so excited and then so sad that One Piece might come to an end in my lifetime. Like, I'd rather just die with it still going, maybe. But this is part 1 of 4, which is, yeah, going to tell everyone where One Piece is located. Words. And I just remember back to the point where someone was just gonna tell Lufers, like, hey, this is the location of the One Piece. And Lufers was like, journey before destination. God! And now we're actually getting to that destination through the journey. And that's, I don't know. I love the way this story is told. Genuine, giant, gleeful, heart-pumping love for the care and passion for One Piece. I just want to take a moment for that because it's beautiful. It's genuinely beautiful. An alliance is formed here, though, involving the samurai and the Mink tribe. This is where I'm starting to get muddled. I can't keep track of it all. I genuinely apologize. This is a first-time read-through. I want to re-emphasize that. I'm not going to get everything right and understand it all first time through. There's probably going to be a One Piece reread in my future where I'll get a much clearer vision of what's going on. And this actually is going to hit on a point I really need to touch on because of what happened last week when I was talking about One Piece. I said some stuff that was wrong in my One Piece problems video because I hadn't gotten to the point in the story yet where I knew what the ramifications of certain things were going to be, so people just spoiled it for me through sending me emails, Instagram DMs, Twitter @s, and comments. Please don't do that. Let me be wrong. That's part of the enjoyment of going along with me, right? You get to see me be wrong and subverted. Don't destroy that for me, please. It's a huge part of my enjoyment of One Piece. I'm not mad at anybody. I get it. You want me to still be positive on stuff because I did frame it negatively, not understanding. But that's okay. Trust me. I'll get there. Unless I die. I am getting 2 procedures this week, so you don't see me all of a sudden. But in probably my favorite subversion of like storytelling of this entire arc, we see Jack now returning because no, he wasn't actually killed, and he's coming to the island to wreak havoc once again. Remember how I said it's on a giant elephant back? It's a living, breathing elephant, and it sees that guy coming, and I imagine the elephant just goes, fuck that guy, and just knocks his ass out with his trunk and is like, I don't want that, get out of here, you suck. So like our crew doesn't deal with this guy because the elephant's just like, nah, what? Brilliant choice. Like, I was so ready for a gigantic climactic action sequence, and I was gonna be like, wow, that guy hasn't been set up to have the stakes to like really earn fighting our, oh, he's not going to fight our crew. Oh, he's, bye. That's fucking brilliant. But this arc concludes with roughly half of our crew teaming up with a few of these Mink tribesmen to go off and rescue Sanji. So what I really love here is that this arc wasn't really on the giant epic scale we're used to seeing from One Piece, and instead it felt more like our crew was just being recognized for their status, and the world itself was allowed to move around them to set up what is to come. To the point where literally Oda didn't let us have a final climactic fight with the antagonist because he was like, no, that hasn't been earned. It would bloat this out, and after Dressrosa, y'all don't want that. So we're gonna move on from here. And it's just a wonderful encapsulation of the intelligence of Oda as a storyteller. I know I keep just heaping praise and praise and praise on One Piece, but I just gotta recognize someone who continues to surprise me not only with their creativeness, but their confidence. It's just addicting. But yes, that is essentially where this arc comes to an end. And if it was bigger or larger in scale, it might crack into my top arcs of all time because I felt this to be so tight and just perfect in getting what it needed to be done across, except for just a few things I'm not understanding. And it's kind of rough because one this short can't have the same impact on me as like a Marineford. So it can't take the spot of like my favorite One Piece arc, but it is simultaneously, like, in my opinion, critically just as good. It's just I didn't enjoy it as much because it's not what everything's been leading to. So we have this like awkward positioning where I'm like, I think this is a solid 9 as an arc. I really liked Zou. It's great, but it's just, it can't be a 10 because it's not Water 7. You know what I mean? It's kind of Anyway, though, that was just my thoughts on this latest One Piece arc. One I super duper enjoyed, and I don't know, it just felt like another showing from Oda that just made me go, fuck! You're good! Anyway, everyone, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here, and check out my book, Rebels Creed, dropping this Friday if you would like to support me in my, authorial endeavors.
Bye!
And of course, I'd like to record a special shout out to my latest high tier Patreons, Rachel Warrington, Charles Mahan, Jim Donis, Alec D. Ross, and Jack Mestry.